Hello there guys and welcome to this weekend's live stream for IFMC. I am JWF1 and we are here for the United States Grand Prix this weekend here at the Circuit of the Americas. Not Watkins Glen like it was last season, COTA here at Austin, Texas. And we're looking at hopefully a great weekend of action here at COTA. It was when IndyCar was here as well, but let's hope it's a little bit less chaotic than what it was there, especially down at that one particular corner I'm talking about. If you didn't see what happened last weekend at the European Grand Prix, my computer decides to go to sleep on me there. It was of course Lewis Hamilton who went on to take a victory in full command of the race ahead of course Kimi Räikkönen, of course, getting a good result for Suomi, and Valtteri Bottas in the end doing a good job to get himself in third place in the end, finally kicking off his season, of course. Just a few things as well. Most of it I'll cover when we're in the session because there's a lot to get through in terms of news. But one thing's for sure, few things I can say for now. 2 of the 11 teams have taken upgrades here into COTA. So 2 teams have brought upgrades here into Austin. And of course Max Verstappen has a qualifying ban for what he did to Sergio Perez at Donington. Of course Martini tried to appeal it as a result of there being claims that there were no yellow flags to indicate Verstappen that Perez was stationary, but there was yellow flags as proven by 3 pictures that were shown on Thursday, and as a result it was concluded that Verstappen failed to see the yellow flags, and as a result the qualifying ban remained. So only 21 cars will be taking part in this qualifying session. A lot of news flashes to get through. We'll go through in that qualifying session. Bright and sunny here at COTA. So without further ado, just ignore this little glitch over here. I don't know what that is. I think it's part of a button. I think it's a bit of a rendering issue there with colour. But anyway, without further ado, let's get to the qualifying session ahead of the United States Grand Prix. So, as it will come up very soon. Here we are then. Verstappen looking on from the sidelines, and we're going to go to the end of the pit lane with Oliver Rowland, so we will wait and get this session underway. It is a 35-minute session here at COTA, so we will wait for some pit activity to get us underway. And of course on Monday we had the mid-season test which saw Sebastian Vettel top the session in the EMR ahead of Charles Leclerc, who drove for Etihad that day, and Sebastian's teammate Nico Hülkenberg rounding out the top 3. But we're here now in the Americas. It's only IFMC this weekend and also for next weekend as well. No GP2 or GP3 for anyone who's in GP2 or GP3 that's wondering why there's no GP2 or GP3 on. It is just a top class for this weekend. The GP2 and GP3 guys aren't going to the American circuits. But Kevin Magnussen is the first man out on track for Suomi, and he's just going around the S's now then. And he'll be the one starting a lap for us here at COTA as Magnussen goes around the left-hander before going around the right and left chicane. Also on track we have Stoffel Vandoorne in the AMP. We also have Sergio Perez out there as well. Oliver Rowland out on track, as is Antonio Giovinazzi, who we've been told that this season will be his last season at Bud Light Line, as he will be moving to Martini Motorsport next season to partner alongside Max Verstappen. Esteban Ocon leaving the team at the end of the season, as he'll be joining GRM next season, replacing Jean-Eric Vergne, as the man that will be replacing Daniel Ricciardo next season will be Will Power on a loan deal from Eldorado. So it will be Power and Ocon in the GRM next season. And it will mean that Bud Light Line Motorsport will have to find somebody to replace Giovinazzi for next season. Also on track we have Fernando Alonso in the Etihad, as we just go around the left-hander on the track. And Alonso's got to be careful he doesn't get held up by Antonio Giovinazzi in any way, shape or form. Charles Leclerc out on track for Shadow, as he will now brake towards the hairpin. And so far been outpaced by Sainz this season. Also on track we have Brendan Hartley in the monster car. Nico Hülkenberg's out there, as is Daniel Ricciardo, Pascal Wehrlein, Valtteri Bottas and Carlos Sainz Jr. As Magnussen has just started the lap, you can just see there on the right hand side Max Verstappen's looking on from the pit lane. As we go down towards turn 1 on the track now then, Magnussen using a lot of curb on the outside before approaching the flat out turn 2, as they will now negotiate through the S's now then, through the left, right, left and then right-hander we will go, as it will now go up towards the left-hander on the track, as trying to get the best line as possible. And of course not quite like in real life, but there is some tracks where the drivers like to track extend a little bit, because for some reason the FIA is a little bit lenient on it when it comes to COTA. No idea no idea why. But there you are. As now Magnussen comes down the long straight now then, which is possibly where you need a good engine down this track, which is probably where the Etiads will probably gain a lot in this qualifying session. So a lot of people possibly expecting Etihad to do well here this weekend. As going out of the hairpin there goes Kevin Magnussen, as we will now approach the double right-hander before approaching the quick left-hand before the next left-hander, and quite an interesting camera angle the people who modded this track have chose to go out of that corner before approaching the mirrored version of what a lot of people call the infamous turn 8 at Turkey, as now up towards the final two corners on the track. Now then we go. Magnussen using quite a lot of curb on the outside to get the best exit out of the final corner and onto the pit straight. Now then goes Kevin Magnussen, as he will now cross the line. Let's see what K-Mag can do. He does a 1:36.752. That's the benchmark of time. Van Don slots to second with that lap. Here comes Sergio Perez, and it's going to be P1 for him. So Perez at the top. P3 for Oliver Rowland, as here comes Antonio Giovinazzi to go fastest at the moment. So Giovinazzi going fast at the moment. Alonso only slots to fourth, so it looked like that Giovinazzi did hold him up on that lap, as he did on the warm-up lap. As here comes Charles Leclerc, as he will now cross the line. What can Charles manage? And he goes into fifth with that lap, so P5 for Charles Leclerc. Brendan Hartley crosses the line to go fourth. As now we look at Nico Hulkenberg in the EMR. What can he post? Hulkenberg now then. Across the line goes the German, and he goes fastest for the moment. So Hulkenberg now fastest. Wehrlein, his fellow compatriot. In front was Ricciardo. He goes ninth. P11 for Pascal Wehrlein. Valtteri Bottas, P3 for him. As we now look at Carlos Sainz Jr., who goes third with that lap. And that's that at the moment. So at the moment it is currently Hulkenberg that is fastest at the moment in this session in the EMR, with in second place I believe is Antonio Giovinazzi, and in third is Carlos Sainz Jr. at the moment. So a lot of surprises in this qualifying session, but we've still got a long way to go. A lot of people could have got hold up on their first flying lap, and that's that. So round the right-hander we go as they go out the corner. And Sainz will return to the pit. Sorry about that. As you see, Sainz just going down the straight, and he'll be returning to the pit this lap in that car, as we'll be waiting for another set of cars to come out onto the track quite soon. Not Verstappen, of course. He has the qualifying ban for what he did with Sergio Perez last weekend. On top of that as well, Eldorado have confirmed that Ferdinand Hasberg will be one of their test drivers next season. As you can tell with their car, they've got a slightly tweaked livery for this weekend. They've got on the front and rear wings colours of the American flag. The team boss, Robert Ionescu, having a citizenship here at America. And so for him, he essentially calls this his home Grand Prix, as there is no Romanian Grand Prix for him. So they've got colours as well, and they've also brought along Pepsi Max for this weekend as well. So expect that. As now Perez is just slotted into the pit. Sorry, that was Bottas. I'm doing it again like I've done for the last few seasons now, and it's getting quite annoying that I still have that problem. Romain Grosjean now then for Bud Light Line Motorsport. He's out on track as he just goes out of the hairpin now then before approaching the right-hander. And now he will just go through the S's now then. And just dipping down a few gears before preparing to start his next flying lap, as he will now go up towards the left-hander, and now through the right, and then up through the left-hander he will go, using quite a bit of curve on the outside before going downhill towards the hairpin. And the sparks coming off the back of his car, and now using quite a lot of curb on the outside before going down the back straight. And now he will approach the left-hander. And Grosjean now then obviously preparing to start his next flying lap. well, his first flying lap, I should say. Also on track with him, we have Scott Dixon in the Mars Grand Prix car. Ed Jones out on track as well. Sebastian Vettel out there as well for EMR, as is Jean-Eric Vergne, who's going to be left on the employment list as a result of being announced that he will not be with GRM next season, as he's being replaced by another French driver, while the Australian, Daniel Ricciardo, is being replaced by another Australian. That's because Ricciardo is moving to Etihad next season, of course, as we know, replacing Alonso, who's going to IndyCar for the next season, of course. And so Vergne out on track for him now then, as is Antonio Giovinazzi, the man who's currently second at the moment. Charles Leclerc out on track as well. We also have Brendan Hartley out there as well. Kimi Raikkonen also on track for Suomi, as we also have Esteban Ocon, who we know is moving to GRM next season, and this will be his last season with Martini after 2 seasons, ending his contract early because he was scheduled to have a 3-season deal with Martini, and a lot of people speculating could it come down to a budgetary issue with Martini after what happened to them earlier in the season, but who knows really. And of course they've also sold Nick de Vries as well, as he will become the test driver for Monster Grand Prix next season when they become British Airways Racing. The team announced that Daniel Ricciardo announced that will be the team's new name next season. The team will officially become British, and of course being backed up by a British Airways company called, well, British Airways, and well, Etihad pretty much calling him a cheap airways racing company, because as you know, Etihad is also an airline company as well, so it's kind of that really. It's understandable why you probably call him that. Hulkenberg's out there as mentioned, Magnussen was as well, Hamilton out there, as Grosjean's on a lap as he just comes out of that left-hander, as he's currently on a lap. For Bud Light Lime also, this is also a sort of home Grand Prix as well, as Sean Grant has a little bit of a background in America. And so essentially for him, because there's no Irish Grand Prix, this is kind of a home Grand Prix for him as well. No special livery like last time as well. They just decided to keep hold with the Bud Light Lime livery this time around, unlike the American flag they showed last season when they were at Watkins Glen. Grosjean meantime crossed the line to go second fastest at the moment, so Bud Light Lime showing some improvements. It seems they've definitely improved since Donington, it must be said. They finally turned a corner in their pace, and at a good time as well considering they're in America. 15th for Scott Dixon, it must be said, as here comes Sebastian Vettel in the EMR. See what he's able to do as he just negotiates out of the final corner. Vettel now then, across the line he will go. It looked like he must have got held up on his lap, because this is going to be a poor lap from Vettel. A 1:37.527. I do think he was actually behind Jones before he started his lap. Jones going into 17th with that lap. Here comes Jean-Eric Vergne in the GRM. Across the line goes Vergne, and let's see what he's able to do. He goes 14th for the moment on that lap. Still 3rd for Antonio Giovinazzi, still 10th for Leclerc. Brendan Hartley still stays 8th at the moment, also showing some improvements as well since Daniel Ricciardo showed up. Hartley showing his true potential in that car at the moment. Raikkonen crosses the line to go 3rd fastest at the moment, so P3 for Raikkonen, as it's P12 for Esteban Ocon. Still 8th for Kevin Magnussen at the moment, as we now look at current pole sitter Nico Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg now then coming up towards the final corner. Is he going to improve on this lap as he goes down the pit straight? And I think Hamilton, of course, was behind him as well, so he could threaten Hulkenberg. As across the line goes Hulkenberg, and he improves on his best time at the moment. Hamilton, meantime, slots to 2nd with that lap, unable to beat Hulkenberg at the moment, who improved on his lap there then. So Hulkenberg staying at the top. I would have thought Hamilton would have beat Hulkenberg there, but he didn't. Hulkenberg at the moment staying fastest at the moment in this qualifying session. Anybody else on the lap? No, they're not at the moment. So at the moment, it is still Nico Hulkenberg in the EMR that's currently fastest at this stage in qualifying, with Lewis Hamilton in 2nd, and I believe it is Grosjean who's running at the top 3 at the moment. But that line showing, as mentioned, some good pace this weekend, it must be said. Sorry for the drop of frames there. I only just noticed it did that. As Hulkenberg now then just going out of the hairpin, as he will now go down the long straight. And so that's that for him really. As also out on track, as we mentioned, Lewis Hamilton, he'll be going back into the pits. Roland just waiting around in the pit lane at this stage. We will go through the top 5 as soon as either Hulkenberg or Hamilton go into the pits. I think we'll stay with, you know what, I think we'll stay with Hamilton on this instance, because he was the last person to do a flying lap on the set of cars that we're doing at the moment. Just over 22 minutes of this qualifying session remaining to determine the grid for tomorrow's United States Grand Prix, and as mentioned, expect some improvements to be done around here at COTA, because a lot of them did get held up on their first flying laps, including Alonso. As whoa, a big lock up there from Hulkenberg as he tried to slow the car down to go into the pit lane there. Luckily, he was able to there without sustaining any damage, but I think that was a little bit of a scare from Hulkenberg there as far as he was concerned. Hamilton now then in the pits. And let's see the top 5 now then. So it is Hulkenberg from Hamilton, Grosjean, Raikkonen and Giovinazzi. That's what the top 5 currently stands at this stage. And Hulkenberg showing some really good pace around here at COTA. And meantime, we've got some guys on track at the moment. Ollie Rowland and Daniel Ricciardo have gone out onto the track as Rowland is going down the back straight at this stage. And now Rowland going around the left-hander on the track. And going up towards the double right-hander we will go. Rowland going out of the corner now then before approaching the left-hander. And Rowland up towards the quadruple right-hander he will go. And then he will approach the second to last corner to start his next flying lap. As mentioned, Daniel Ricciardo is also out there as well, but they've now been joined by Carlos Sainz Jr., who's just come out on the track. Jean-Eric Verne also out there as well. Stoffel Van Dorn out on track as well, as is Fernando Alonso. Alonso out on track, as is Ed Jones. Sergio Perez out there as well for Eldorado. So that's that really, as he just goes around the section of corners. And he'll be starting his next flying lap very soon now then, as he just negotiates through the section of corners now then on the track. Also on track we have Valtteri Bottas in the other Eldorado, so both Eldorados going out at the same time. Pascal Wehrlein out there as well. Ollie Rowland has just started the lap. Grosjean's just gone out onto the track, as has Ocon and Raikkonen. And Ricciardo hoping that Raikkonen doesn't impede him on his lap. Grosjean will view with as he's currently on the lap. Currently in third at this stage. Grosjean showing some good pace around here at COTA. The Bud Light Lime appearing to improve, and seems to be a step forward seems to be a step forward at the moment here for the Bud Light Limes. They showed some decent pace around Donington, but weren't able to materialise there. It seemed that well, I think that actually, let's think about it again. I don't know what I'm saying. I think Giovinazzi and Grosjean showed some good pace around there last weekend. Of course, Grosjean retired early on in the race, or was it Giovinazzi? It was one of the two. I can't even remember off the top of my head. It's been a week. But it seems that America seems to suit the Bud Light lines here, and well, that's that really. And I think there are a few fans of Bud Light Lime around here in America who'll be cheering the team on if they can, and possibly Eldorado as well. Both of their team managers having a little bit of a background in America. Of course, Robert Ionescu having a citizenship in America, and Sean Grant having a background. I think some of his family are from America, from what I understand. So Romain Grosjean now then headed down the straight. So he now starts his next flying lap as he goes up towards turn 1. And using quite a bit of curb on the outside before approaching the flat out turn 2, as he will now go up towards the S's, flicking the car in for the left and then right-hander. Through the left he will go again, and Grosjean now then coming out of sector 1 now then before approaching the right and left chicane. And while Grosjean's on the lap, I should say, anybody that's wondering where all the reruns are for the European Grand Prix and of course the mid-season test, I've been having problems with trying to upload trying to get the European Grand Prix on at the moment, but it seems I'm on track to do that, so hopefully you'll get that by the end of today, and then obviously the mid-season test as well, and of course the qualifying session for the United States Grand Prix. Sorry they've been a little bit late, just had some issues in terms of storage in trying to get the rerun for the European Grand Prix up, but seems to be on track. I've just had to use my other computer to do that at the moment, as now Romain Grosjean now then just going up towards the double right-hander on the track. And unlike IndyCar at the moment, it doesn't appear, because we saw it quite a bit in qualifying as well last season in IndyCar, it seems that the top class seems to be well behaved around this track. So hopefully that will stay the same in the race. We'll wait and see. But so far, nobody appears to be going wide out of the hairpin, and nobody seems to be track extending going out of the second to last corner. It just seems the IndyCar drivers were struggling with the way their car was set up around there. Going out the final corner then goes Romain Grosjean. Let's see what he is able to do, as he will now cross the line. And Grosjean, can he improve? He does. He goes onto the front row. Grosjean up to second with that lap. Grosjean up to P2. A brilliant time from Romain. as we now look at Esteban Ocon, who will come up towards the final corner. And let's see what Esteban is able to do. Is this going to be an improvement then for the Frenchman? Across the line he will go, and he doesn't improve. He stays 13th for the moment. So now we look at Kimi Raikkonen in the Suomi. Raikkonen is going to cross the line and stays 5th for the time being. So Sainz now then locking up quite heavily going into the pits there. And, well, pretty much doing similar to Hulkenberg there. So it seems that people are finding it tricky to get into the pits around this track, it must be said. But maybe we could see that in the race. Hopefully it doesn't cause too much problems at all. Alonso went up into 4th with his lap there. We kind of missed it there. I do apologise. A lot of things sort of happened after those laps, it must be said. And probably because I thought Grosjean was out first. I do apologise for that. But Alonso got up to 4th, Raikkonen 5th, 20th for Dixon at the moment, 18th for Verne, 4th at the moment for Alonso, so he did improve. Vettel expected to go out as he's down in 19th after being held up by Jones a little earlier on. Jones 21st, Perez still 9th, 8th for Bottas, Verline 17th at the moment, 2nd place at the moment for Romain Grosjean, 13th for Ocon, and I think I've just covered all the cars that are out on track at this stage, as Raikkonen will be going back into the pits. But at the moment, it is still Nico Hulkenberg fastest here at COTA, with Romain Grosjean in 2nd, Lewis Hamilton in 3rd, and then I believe it is Giovinazzi 4th, and Raikkonen who rounds out the top 5 at the moment. So that's that at the moment. So Hulkenberg fastest at the moment, with Grosjean 2nd, Hamilton 3rd, Giovinazzi 4th, and Raikkonen in 5th. But we still should expect some more improvements, especially from Sebastian Vettel, who's down in 19th at the moment as a result of being held up by Jones on his first flying lap, similar to what Alonso had with Giovinazzi earlier, but he's managed to get it up into 4th place. And surprisingly, Etihad don't seem to have a car set up around here, it must be said. They seem to gain it a lot down the straights, but most of the time it seems that EMR seem to have them down around the corners, and even the Bud Light Limes are showing some good pace around here as well, especially Grosjean and Giovinazzi looking to get into the mix. Sorry, it's Alonso in 4th, I do apologise, not Giovinazzi. Alonso 4th at the moment, the two Etihads locking out row 2 at the moment, but they're not locking out the front row where they want to be in this qualifying session. As so far, Hulkenberg and Grosjean are currently slotting out those slots at the moment, and only around 200 separate Hulkenberg and Grosjean in this qualifying session, so it's close between the top 2 at this stage. So that's that really. At the moment, as meantime, we do have some track activity. One of them being current pole sitter, Nico Hulkenberg. Hamilton is the first man now out on track as he looks to get a clear track out in front and see if he can try and challenge Hulkenberg for pole position. If he can, see if he can get the Etihad onto pole position, as he's currently got an impressive pole record this season, it must be said. He is the most successful when it comes to pole positions in IFMC, and it seems that figure seems to be increasing all the time. Hamilton now then just going out the final corner to start his next flying lap. Kevin Magnussen out on track, as is Charles Leclerc. As mentioned, current pole sitter Nico Hulkenberg as well. Sebastian Vettel out on track as well, so both EMRs going out at the same time as each other. Vettel looking like he's not going to get held up by his own teammate, it must be said. Dixon out on track, as is Antonio Giovinazzi. Ollie Rowland out on track as well. We also have Brendan Hartley out there as well. Carlos Sainz Jr. out there as well. And Valtteri Bottas has just come out of the track, as are Daniel Ricciardo and Fernando Alonso. So they are the guys that are on track. We get back to Hamilton, who's 200 down off his personal best in the first sector there. So Hamilton struggling to improve on his best time at the moment. But let's see if he tries and hooks it up and see if he can improve on his last 2 sectors as he comes up towards the left-handers. We have 14 minutes remaining in this qualifying session, or just under 14 minutes to go to determine the grid for tomorrow's United States Grand Prix here at COTA. So Hamilton now then just going up towards the left-hander now then, as he pushes hard to try and get Hulkenberg for pole if he can. Just going out of the left-hander he will go before approaching the double left-hand, the double right-hander I should say. Well, pretty much these complex of corners, as he will now just slow the car down towards the left-hander. And Hamilton now then approaching the quadruple right-hander on the track. And Hamilton now then see if he's able to improve now then as he goes through the last 2 corners on the track. Down towards the final corner then goes Lewis Hamilton. And let's see if he is able to improve. Down the pit straight goes Lewis Hamilton, as he will now cross the line. And let's see if this is going to be improving. Hamilton crosses the line, and he doesn't improve. He stays third for the moment, unable to get the car onto the front row at the moment. Bottas behind starting the lap, as is Ricciardo and Alonso just about to start one. Here comes Kevin Magnussen, who's currently in the cusp of the top 10 at the moment. Magnussen now then up towards the final corner he will go. And let's see what K-Mag is able to do as he heads down the pit straight, and across the line goes the Dane. And across the line he will go, and he goes up to 8th for that lap, so an improvement there for Magnussen to get up to P8. 11th for Charles Leclerc, an improvement for him. Hulkenberg doesn't improve. Vettel only up to 11th with that lap, so Vettel only getting up into P11 at the moment. Don't know if he got caught up in Nico's dirty air there or what, but only 11th is the improvement Vettel can manage on this lap. But we will wait and see on that. It's P20 for Scott Dixon, P15 for Roland, who's currently on the lap, but it appears to be 1/10 off his personal best in the second sector there as he goes through the last 2 corners on the track. Then let's see what Roland can manage then. Round the final corner and onto the pit straight goes Oliver Roland as he will now cross the line. Let's see what Oliver is able to do, and he stays 15th with that lap, no improvement for him. As here comes Carlos Sainz Jr. heading out of the final 2 corners. Let's see what Sainz is able to do then. Round the final corner and onto the pit straight he will go. And Sainz now then will come across the line. And he stays 7th for the moment, so still P7 for Carlos Sainz Jr., showing some good pace around here at COTA. So it's still 9th for Valtteri Bottas at the moment. Here comes Daniel Ricciardo. He improves but stays 16th for the moment. Fernando Alonso, meantime, crosses the line, stays 4th at the moment, so unable to outpace teammate Hamilton at this stage as Magnussen goes into pit lane. And so that's that for him. Hulkenberg still fastest at the moment at this stage. And so Vettel in the pits as well, currently in 11th at the moment, so unable to get a good flying lap in at the moment, but he's still got plenty of time to do his final flying lap, and he'll hope to try and make that count if he can. And so in fact he could have 2 more flying laps, judging from his steering wheel there, so but we will wait and see. And so that's that really. Is now Verline is out on track for AMP. And so AMP managing to get a good result at Donington. I think it was a double points finish for both Verline and Van Dorn. But it seems here at COTA, it seems that the car is just not suited to this track at all. And so it seems to be some struggles here for the Essex-based team. So Verline just negotiate out of the left-hander there then, before heading down the straight towards the hairpin. And the V10 roaring down the back straight before approaching the next hairpin on the track, the 3rd hairpin I should say here at COTA. And so that's that really. As now, as mentioned, Verline preparing to start his next flying lap. Also on track we have his teammate Stoffel Van Dorn. Van Dorn out on track for AMP. Jean-Eric Vergne also out on track as well. We also have Sergio Perez out there as well for the Eldorados. Ed Jones out on track as well, and Ocon expected to come out, as is Dixon, Raikkonen as well, Vettel coming back out as well, Magnussen, Grosjean and Hamilton. Those guys expected to come back out onto the track. Is now heading down the pit straight goes Pascal Wehrlein, as he all now head down towards turn 1 on the track, as the sparks come off the back of his car now then, heading through in towards turn 1 and using quite a bit of curb on the outside before approaching the right-hander, as he will now go up towards the S's, through the left and then through the right he will go, flicking the car in and then around the double right-hander before approaching this left-hander now then. A quick sequence of corners in the first sector, and now Wehrlein hoping he can get this second sector hooked up as he will approach the hairpin on the track, as we now have just over 8 minutes of the session remaining to determine the grid for the United States Grand Prix tomorrow. Wehrlein flicking the car in, using quite a bit of curb on the outside before going down the back straight, as he will now go up towards the next hairpin on the track. And Wehrlein now then up towards the left-hander he will go, and dropping down a few gears now then, using quite a bit of curb on the outside before approaching the double right-hander. And so Verline now then getting the car around this double left-hander on the track, using quite a bit of curb on the outside. That's now through towards the quadruple right-hander on the track. Is this going to be an improvement for Pascal Verline? Into the second to the last corner, up towards the final corner will go Pascal Verline. Let's see what he is able to do now then. Out of the final corner and onto the pit straight he will go, and Verline is now going to cross the line. And is this going to be an improvement? No, it's not. He stays 18th with that lap there. Then here comes Roman Grosjean, who's about to start a lap and currently holding on to the front row of the grid. Grosjean again showing some good pace around here, it must be said. Van Dorn on a lap as he just negotiates through the sequence of corners. And let's see if the Belgian is on an improvement as he just flicks the car through the quadruple right-hander now then. Using quite a bit of curb on the outside before approaching the final two corners then. Up towards the final corner then goes Stoffel Van Dorn. And let's see what he is able to do as he heads down the pit straight. And Stoffel now then is going to cross the line. And he stays 17th with that lap there then. So Jean-Eric Verne going down the pit straight, and across the line will go the Frenchman. See what he's able to do on this lap, and he stays 19th with that lap. Dixon starts his lap, as does Ocon. I don't know if Ocon is going to get held up by Dixon. Vettel starting a lap, looks like he's going to get a clear lap in, providing that Jones in front of Ocon, sorry, Dixon in front of Ocon, doesn't catch up to Vettel. Perez improves but stays 9th. Hamilton starting a lap, as is Leclerc. Here comes Ed Jones coming out of the final corner, and let's see what Jones is able to do then on this lap as he comes down the pit straight, and across the line he will go, and he improves but stays 21st with that lap. Raikkonen now then across the line he will go, and he stays 5th with that lap, no improvement. Verline going back into the pits. Here comes Grosjean then on another lap, in towards the second to last corner he will go, flicking the car in as he will now go up towards the final corner. Let's see if Grosjean is able to improve then. Out of the final corner and onto the pit straight he will go. And Grosjean is now going to cross the line, and he stays in second place. No improvement for him. As now we look at K-Mag, who heads down the pit straight, and across the line he will go, and he goes up to 7th for that lap. So an improvement for Magnussen on his final lap to get up into 7th place at the present moment. Here comes Esteban Ocon, now just going around the left-hander, and he's looking at it improving himself. And he's past Dixon, and Vettel also looking at an improvement. Luckily for him, it doesn't look like that Dixon is going to impede him. Ocon's still improving though, despite being a tad bit held up by Dixon, it must be said. So it looks like the Frenchman is also improving as he goes out of the final corner. Onto the pit straight he will go. Can Ocon improve on this lap now then? Esteban across the line he will go, and he goes up to 13th. Vettel meantime crosses the line and goes fastest. Vettel fastest at the moment. It's an EMR front row at the moment, as Hulkenberg now down to 2nd at the moment. Vettel fastest at the moment. Hamilton now then across the line he'll go, and he goes up to 2nd, so he spoils those plans. Hamilton gets onto the front row with that lap, so an improvement there for Lewis Hamilton. Charles Leclerc crosses the line, stays 12th on his final flying lap there then, as we have just under 5 minutes left of the session now then. And so that's that really. But at the moment it is now Sebastian Vettel who's fastest, with Hamilton 2nd, Hulkenberg rounding out the top 3 with Grosjean 4th, and then I believe it is Alonso in 5th position. So, and that's that. Sorry, not Alonso in 5th. I believe it will be Giovinazzi actually in 5th position. So, no, sorry. I haven't got a clue. I'm losing my brain. So, let's think about that again. In fact, I think it would be Alonso. In fact, I could be wrong there. I think it could be Alonso that's in 5th. And it is. Sorry, I was right. So it's Vettel from Hamilton, Hulkenberg, Grosjean, Alonso, and Raikkonen, who's currently 6th at the moment in this qualifying session. A big improvement there for Sebastian Vettel to go fastest. And even Hulkenberg has decided he needs to respond because he's got onto the track. But he's got to be careful he doesn't get held up by Hartley, who's come out at the same time as him. Giovinazzi, they will be the first to start a lap out of these group of cars, I believe. And it's Hulkenberg hoping that Hartley in front does not hold him up of a chance of getting his first ever IFMC pole position, as now Giovinazzi will approach the left-hander now then, as he uses quite a bit of curb on the outside before approaching the next section of corners now then. Giovinazzi approaching the left-hander on the track he will go. and using quite a bit of curb on the outside before approaching the quadruple right-handers. He will go, and Giovinazzi now, they're preparing to start his next flying lap. The future Martini Motorsport driver now then heading up towards the final corner. He will go, and heading down the pit straight, and Giovinazzi is about to start his next flying lap as he will go up towards turn 1 on the track. And now up towards turn 1 now, then we go, and using quite a bit of curb on the outside before approaching turn 2 on the track, as the sparks continue to come off the back of Gio's car, flicking the car through the S's now then. And so Giovinazzi now then just going out of the left-hander before approaching the end of sector 1. And so far finding himself in 7th place, I would have thought, yes. And looking at it improving. In fact, I think it just said he was up on his personal best in the first sector. I think just briefly there on his steering wheel. Could be wrong on that, but I think it said that Giovinazzi was up on his personal best in the first sector there. Whether that will mean an improvement on position, we will wait and see. As Gio now then heads down the back straight before approaching the left-hander on the track. And so now up towards the left-hander will go Antonio Giovinazzi. Out of the left-hander he will go before approaching the double right-hander. And let's see what Gio is able to do on this lap. Coming out the corner as he will now approach the left-hander, using quite a bit of curb on the outside. And so now through towards the quadruple right-hander on the track before approaching the last 2 corners. And this is going to be an improvement then for Antonio Giovinazzi. Into the last corner we go now then, as he will then go onto the pit straight. Giovinazzi now then is going to cross the line, and let's see what Gio is able to do. Cross the line he will go, and he doesn't improve. In fact, lost a bit of time it seems in the last sector and remains in 7th. Alonso starting the lap to try and see if he can get up to teammate Hamilton, who's up in 2nd place now at the moment, as Ricciardo in front starting a lap. And here comes Hartley then, across the line he will go, and he doesn't improve, and nor does Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg stays 3rd and remaining in 14th place as Hartley, so Hulkenberg will not take pole for tomorrow. So close, but wasn't able to in the end, as Bottas and Perez, both Eldorados, starting a lap with 37 seconds remaining. Ed Jones about to start a lap as well, as is Verline. They'll just be able to get one more flying lap in. Here comes Ollie Rowland now then, 30 seconds remaining on the clock. Rowland now then up towards the final corner he will go, as he'll head down to the pit straight. And let's see what Rowland is able to do on this lap. Across the line he will go, and he doesn't improve. Stays 15th with that lap, as it's still 9th for Carlos Sainz Jr., so remaining in the top 10 at the moment. Grosjean just able to get a final flying lap in with 10 seconds remaining. Will Van Dorn be able to though? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Checkered flag is out, and no, Van Dorn has just missed the cut. He just didn't call it in time, and that's that for him really. So Van Dorn able to get another lap in, as he will remain in 17th place. As a result, disappointing for him. Alonso though improving in his middle sector. He's nearly 2 tenths up on his personal best in the 2nd sector. Will this get him up the field though? Alonso now then, the man currently 2nd in the Drivers' Championship. His teammate Lewis Hamilton currently leading the championship, up in 2nd at the moment in this qualifying session. Can Alonso get himself up where his teammate is? Alonso down the pit straight and across the line goes the Spaniard, and he goes up to 2nd with that lap. He beats his teammate, so Alonso now gets onto the front row. Up to 2nd place goes Fernando Alonso with that lap, as we now look at Daniel Ricciardo crossing the line. He improves but stays 16th with that lap there then. Here comes Valtteri Bottas in the Eldorado. The Eldorado is not looking good round here this weekend. Can Bottas improve? No, stays 11th with that lap. Sergio Perez in the cusp of the top 10. Will Perez improve on this lap? Across the line he will go, and no, he can't. Stays 10th with that lap. So disappointing qualifying for both Eldorados here in what is sort of their home Grand Prix. As now here comes Ed Jones, and he doesn't improve. Stays 21st as an improvement for Verline, but he stays 18th with that lap there then. Here comes Romain Grosjean. Can he improve from 5th place as he just comes out of the final corner? Across the line comes the Frenchman, and Grosjean crosses the line, and he doesn't improve and stays 5th. And there you have it then. So for the 2nd time this season, it's Sebastian Vettel on pole position for the United States Grand Prix. It's 2 pole positions in a row in America for Sebastian Vettel. He took pole last season at Watkins Glen, and he does it again here at COTA. And just look how close the top 4 was in the end. 900ths separating the top 4 and a 10th in the top 5 as well. Very close qualifying here at COTA. One of the closest we've had for a while. So there you have it then, guys. After all of that, here is the grid for tomorrow's United States Grand Prix. It is Sebastian Vettel on pole with Fernando Alonso in 2nd. Lewis Hamilton is in 3rd with Nico Hülkenberg 4th. Romain Grosjean 5th. Kimi Räikkönen 6th. Antonio Giovinazzi 7th. Bud Light Lime improving ever so much. A brilliant qualifying for the Irish team. Kevin Magnussen 8th. Carlos Sainz Jr. 9th. Sergio Perez in 10th. Valtteri Bottas in 11th. With Charles Leclerc 12th, Esteban Ocon 13th, Brendan Hartley in 14th. And if we scroll down the rest of the field, it is Oliver Rowland in 15th, with Daniel Ricciardo 16th, Pascal Wehrlein in 17th, with Stoffel Vandoorne 18th, Jean-Eric Vergne 19th, Scott Dixon 20th, Ed Jones in 21st, and due to his qualifying ban, Max Verstappen is in 22nd and last. So there you have it then, guys. That is the grid for tomorrow's United States Grand Prix. It's looking to be a very entertaining race tomorrow, and I don't think it's one that you want to miss as well. It's looking to be a very good United States Grand Prix here at COTA, the first time IFMC's been to COTA. So, and that is it then, guys, for the qualifying session, and that is it for today's live stream. I hope you've enjoyed it. Again, as mentioned before, for anybody who's just joined in, I'll remind you GP2 and GP3 are not on this weekend and will not be on next weekend. They'll be back in 2 weeks' time in Belgium. So that's it for today's live stream. I hope you've enjoyed it. Been a very close qualifying session and looks to be in the making of a fantastic race here at COTA. But there you have it then, guys. That's been it. I hope you enjoyed it. We will see you then, guys, tomorrow at a later time of 3:30 PM BST due to the Formula 1 Azerbaijan Grand Prix taking place at 1:10 tomorrow for the 56th lap United States Grand Prix here at COTA. But until then, guys, that has been it. I hope you enjoyed it. So thank you very much for watching. I've been JWF1, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for the United States Grand Prix here at COTA at 3:30 PM BST, straight after the Azerbaijan Grand Prix for Formula 1. Until then, take care.